Can I convince you that custom sports cards are actually pretty cool? Probably not. Happy hobby. I'm David Goss. If you are a sports card collector and you're working with a limited budget, this is the YouTube series for you. Make sure you hit subscribe. Today, talk about limited budget. We're talking about super cheap cards, custom sports cards. These are cards that people print on cardstock and sell on eBay for $3, $4, $5. But they're actually pretty cool cards. I gotta tell you, I'm gonna do my best to convince you that custom sports cards can actually be pretty cool. But I also need you to stay to the end because I'm going to show you a custom sports card that I bought that I love. I also want you to stay to the end because we're going to go through a bunch of custom sports cards that are really cool. I think you'll like at least one. There's at least one that you're going to like, I promise. Now, the main reason why people don't like custom sports cards is because there's absolutely no value. Since so many cards can be created and printed, there's really no value. It's kind of like the junk wax era from the early 90s. There's really no value to these cards, but they're fun. If you're an investor, you're not buying custom sports cards. If you're a collector and you love what you collect and you collect what you love and you just enjoy your cards, some of these custom sports cards are for you, I'm telling you. And like I said, I think you're going to see a few in here that are going to make you happy. They're going to make you smile at least. Okay, so actually I categorize these into different types of custom sports cards so you can kind of get an idea what's out there. So the first category we're going to talk about, movies and TV shows. There's a lot of custom sports cards out there for movies specifically. Like, for instance, remember Rick Vaughn, Wild Thing from Major League in the late 80s? There's two cards for that, two different cards, Fleer and Donruss, no tops. And then, of course, there's also The Natural, Roy Hobbs. This is old looking card. I'm guessing supposed to be from the 20s, it looks like. I don't know who you would buy that for. Like, if I was a Cleveland Indians fan, I would want the Rick Vaughn card. That's pretty cool. Wild Thing. That's a cool. There was a movie about your team. That's neat. The Natural, I don't know. But if you're an Alabama fan or you know an Alabama fan, I'd want one of these Forrest Gump cards. They're pretty cool. That's pretty neat. I like that. Run, Forrest, run! There's also some cards for Will Ferrell, who did Semi-Pro and Talladega Nights. So there's a couple cards for him. There's also one for the Waterboy. There's also one for Fletch, Irwin M. Fletcher. Who doesn't know Irwin Fletcher? I'll tell you who doesn't know. My wife. She's never heard of the movie. She's never seen it. I got to correct that. Of course, we also talk about TV. Some of our favorite TV shows with some sports characters somehow involved in this TV show. Like, for instance, Cheers. You know, Sam Malone was the bartender, the owner of Cheers, because he was supposed to be a failed reliever or a retired relief pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. So there's cards supposedly from him when he was on the Red Sox. I don't know why this is in quotes. 1976 tops and a 1982 tops. I love it. It's really cool. And then, of course, Al Bundy scored 4 touchdowns for Polk High. It's a big deal. He's got a couple cards, too. And then we move on to the what if sports cards. That's what I like to call them. These are cards that, what if something happened? There would have been a card for this. Like, for instance, Dr. J, he was originally drafted by the Atlanta Hawks. Couldn't come to an agreement, so ended up signing with the ABA. Pretty cool. Get a Hawks card with Dr. J on there. That would have shifted the entire NBA world, right? And we got Peyton and Eli's nephew, Arch Manning, Cooper Manning's son. He's already got a couple custom sports cards out there. So one of the all-time greatest what-if sports questions, Len Bias. What if he didn't die from a drug overdose in the 80s? He would have played with the Celtics, which were just loaded with Kevin McHale, Larry Bird, and Robert Parrish. I mean, they were just stacked. He would have been on that team. This is a 1987 Fleer design. So now he was drafted in 1986. This is a 1987 design. Pretty cool. I don't know why they wouldn't put him on the 86 Fleer. I don't know. But the 1987, it's a horrible design, but that's a pretty sweet looking card right there. Maybe buy it for a Celtics fan. If I'm a Celtics fan, I don't know if I want to be reminded of that, but it's still a pretty cool card overall. Another great what if Tom Brady signed with the team that drafted him in the 1995 MLB draft? That's right, a baseball team signed him as a catcher, the Montreal Expos. Could you imagine that? I think he'd be with the Washington Nationals because they ended up moving. As a matter of fact, little trivia, Tom Brady is the only active athlete that was drafted by the Expos. He's the only one that's still playing sports right now. That's pretty cool. So we go from the what if sports cards to the missing sports cards. Like for instance, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson both shared the same rookie card in 1980 Topps series with Julius Erving. There's a 3-panel one. You know, it's a famous card. What if they gave Larry Bird his own rookie card? Maybe it looks something like this. Pretty awesome looking card. That would be pretty cool. I would like that. Why isn't there a pair? Why isn't there a Magic card also? I didn't see that one. So from 1980, we'll move on to 1981. Who's drafted in 81? Isiah Thomas. He doesn't have a rookie card. That would have been cool. Have a rookie card there instead of 1986. Was it 4 or 5 seasons later? He finally gets a rookie card, the 86 Fleer set. It's way better than the 81 Topps. Move from basketball over to football. Dan Marino, 1983 NFL draft, one of the all-time greatest NFL drafts for quarterbacks. His rookie card, along with John Elway's, didn't come until 1984. So this would have been like his 1983 prospect card, his rookie card. That would have been cool. I really like the design on this one too, with a pit uniform. That's kind of cool. And then we move over to Herschel Walker, same design, 1983 Topps, his rookie prospects card. Now the thing with Herschel was he didn't get drafted in the NFL until 1985 because he came out after his junior season with Georgia and he signed right with USFL. So he wasn't in the 1983 draft. But if he were, and if he got drafted by the Cowboys, this is what the card would look like. And now we bounce over to baseball. One of the all-time greatest baseball broadcasters ever recently died, Vin Scully. This is his 1933 Gaudi card. That would have been pretty amazing. He was just a little kid at that point. But really cool looking card, cool design, cool throwback. It's a nice looking picture overall. And then finally, we go to the Big Red Machine, 1973 Topps design. The Big Red Machine, Cincinnati Reds, ended up winning a couple World Series. I like that card. Now we move over to the fun series. For instance, the Beastie Boys, 1982 Topps Future Stars card with all three of those guys, Ad Rock, MCA, Mike D. That would have been a really cool card. I would have loved that as a kid. As a teenager, I would have had multiple of those cards. And then, of course, wrestling. There's a couple of wrestlers that actually played sports, whether it's football, like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. There's cards of him. Bill Goldberg, there's some two different cards for Bill Goldberg. And then, of course, you got Macho Man Randy Savage. Randy Poffo played with the Cincinnati Reds in the minors. So this would have been a cool-looking card for Reds fans. All right, so now I promised you stay to the end. I'm going to show you the card that I bought that I thought was pretty awesome, and I'm very excited to own it, even though it'll never be worth a dime. I don't know, maybe 20 years from now at a garage sale up in space, maybe this card, someone would be like, oh yeah, Bo Jackson. He got drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 1986, and he never played with them. He refused to play for them. There's a whole story behind it because they flew him to Tampa and said it wouldn't affect his eligibility to play college baseball, and apparently it did. And he was ruled ineligible. So he said, I'm not going to play for the Bucs. Ended up playing baseball, going and signing with the Royals, and the rest is history. A couple years later, the Raiders drafted him in the NFL, and then he was awesome. So could have been a Buccaneer. So I like to look at this card and I say, you know what? That would have been really cool. I want that card. It's one of the coolest designs ever, 1986 Topps. So that's actually one of my what-if sports cards. But I love that card. So what do you think? Was that pretty good? What do you think about all those cards? Were any of those pretty cool to you? Did I convince you at all that some of those custom sports cards were pretty neat? Are you looking up on eBay now? Maybe thinking about getting one of them? I think you should. Let me know which ones you liked. Let me know what you think. If overall I'm just a big dumb idiot, that's cool. I understand. That's not the first time I've been told that. But let me know in the comments below what you thought. And make sure, whatever you do, just have a happy hobby.